back, everyone, to another episode of the Video Game Vibes podcast. I am your boy PatriotJax, as always, is here with me via the internet and Discord, Grog Games. How are we doing, my fellow YouTube bro?
That's right, we are YouTubers. I'm good, Jax. How are you doing? I'm good. Did you see my new lights right over there? Check them out in the corner.
I see the changing colours. Currently, his corner is changing colours. They're the,
and
some strip LEDs.
Yeah, they it's good. It's good. They are 8 feet, which is shorter than my other ones, I realized. But you know, they're still okay. They got like special like light stuff. Like this remote actually is sort of trash, I'm not gonna lie. But if it works, it does like just change. There's like 16 settings on this. I don't know why. Makes no sense.
I do technically have the same. I don't know if they still work, but I think I have something very similar. Yeah.
They had a Halloween color, which was cool, which I did for my Halloween video. It was just like purple and orange, and I was like, okay, that's sort of neat. But I had to replace it because, as I said before, I think my cat chewed my wire for my other one. So.
Okay, just on that, you've got to give us the update. How is
the little Amethyst, my lovely little cat? This is this last Friday, so a few days ago, we had her for 2 weeks. She's officially 3 months old, so she's still a kitty. She's great. She's lovely. She's pretty much the perfect cat. She cuddles all the time. You know, she has her, rowdy spurts and whatever of like going back and forth with toys, but then she'll like, after burning off energy, she'll just come back and cuddle. We had one of my friends sleep over this weekend after we came back from a Halloween party, and she didn't have any trouble with him, wasn't scared of him or anything like that.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, she's doing fantastic.
That's really good, because
thank you for asking.
I know the pain of having a cat that is the most scaredy cat ever. So I don't ever have to worry about my cat Honey, the ginger short hair. She'll be 4 in a few weeks. I don't ever have to worry about her like running away or getting kidnapped by someone attempting to catnap her, because she is afraid of everyone. And I've said this before, I think, is that I think sometimes when we talk about her to like our friends and that, they sometimes think we're just making her up, because whenever they come over, they would never ever see her.
No!
If you happen to see her, you're lucky. But
I've seen her. She exists, guys. I swear.
But she's like cuddly and stuff with us, just not with anyone else.
Yeah.
But
and that's fine.
And cats are great. So and it's Halloween, and apparently that's more about cats than dogs. I'm not sure why that is the case, but you tend to see more like promotional stuff relating to black cats because of like they're deemed stuff with witches and all that. But black cats are lovely, guys. If you're gonna adopt a cat, black cat, lovely. Your cat's black, isn't it?
My black cat is my familiar now at this point.
There you go.
So,
you got a familiar.
Yeah, she basically follows me around. It's the best thing in the world. So, highly recommend. But really quick, speaking of Halloween, Jax, did you go to any like Halloween parties or anything this weekend?
I go to, my brother does like an annual thing with like costume contest and all that sort of thing.
I thought I saw your picture on Twitter of your costume, but you're gonna have to remind me what you were.
I will. It's so I reused an outfit from previous years, which is the first time I've done that in a while, to be fair. Last year I went as a plague doctor. It was my favourite outfit ever. So this year I went back to the Deadpool outfit that I had, that I really liked. But I was like, well, it needs to have some sort of twist at the very least. And I was like, well, we're in multiverse universes. There goes the cat. There goes we're in multiverses, multi-universes. So there's going to be a universe somewhere in the Deadpool Marvel Cinematic Universe where Deadpool always wears a top hat. So I was like, right, it's okay. So I'm going to be Deadpool with a top hat, and that's what I went as for Halloween. Is Deadpool wearing a top hat, and I thought it was very creative, but I did not win anything. Luckily, no, my son won the most creative costume for his spider outfit, and he had a little rosette, and he was very cute, and he felt very proud. It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's adorable.
He definitely deserved it over Top Hat Deadpool. I mean,
yeah. I could see that being canon though. Top Hat Deadpool. I mean, a different side universe.
I could see Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool 3, just like going through a different universe and saying, "Oh look, there's Deadpool in a top hat." It's kind of like, if it happens, I was here first, just for the record.
Yeah. No, you
see it in Deadpool 3. What did
that you get part of? You got a cut of that, right?
I'd like
Is that
to
what
think
you're saying?
so. Yeah, I'll have to get on the phone to old Ryan. What did you went to a Halloween party? What did you go as?
I did. I was gonna say I don't think I DM'd you what my costume was, did I? Here, I'm gonna DM you live a picture of my costume, and if you want to edit this into the pod, you can.
I was gonna say I think it will bring, because of the way I do the overlay, it will bring it out. So I'm gonna look at it on my phone.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at the picture on my phone.
Okay, give me 1 second to find it here. Yeah, so there's a story behind this. Okay. So I took too long, as always, to decide what my costume was gonna be. I mess up every year, and this year I was like, I'm not gonna mess up. I know what I want to be. I'm gonna be a tree, and every year I say I'm gonna be a tree. Just a regular tree. I want to get like the stupid like clown wigs that are green and put them on my hands, and then put one on my head so I can go like this and be a tree.
Okay.
It's the stupidest dream ever. I know, you can make fun of it. I don't
care. You like every year I want to be a tree.
Because I don't do it because it takes too much effort to get the costume together. So this year I was panicking. My idea was my wife was going to be a Ouija board. She had like these temporary tattoos that she ordered that like had the Ouija board symbol stuff and like the lettering and all that, and she was gonna be the human Ouija board. So last second I was like, oh, I'll just buy a bed sheet and cut holes in it, and I'll be the ghost that she summoned from the Ouija board.
God, that has got to be like the sheet over the top for the ghost is like the laziest.
It is lazy.
Yeah.
But I went to my Target, my convenience store, and like they only sell bed sheets in like packs now, and it was like $25, and I was like, I don't know if that's worth it for just one joke, and then I have bed sheets with holes in them. So I went to my local Party City where there's tons of Halloween costumes, and I found something that technically relates to my wife's costume. I went as a shadow man.
Oh, that's creepy.
It is creepy. So it's for those of you that, if you can see it right now on the screen.
I'll put it on the camera.
Yeah, for you non-video watchers, it's just a black morph suit.
Yeah, it's
and
creepy,
they also have like mask. Yeah, because I thought the mask would add to the creepiness. It's just like a plain mask.
I don't like that. And the fact that you're on all fours is even like creepier. Like that.
Yeah.
I would not like to see someone coming down the street like that.
No, it was way more creepy than I wanted it to be. I totally wasn't even going for it. I was like, oh yeah, this counts, because like I was going to be. So for those of you that don't know, a shadow man is just a kind of ghost. It's just like a ghost that you can't see their physical form, you can't see what they used to look like, they're just shadows. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go as a shadow man. That I'm into ghosts, I'm into all the supernatural lore stuff, so I was like, that's cool, I'll do that. Yeah, it turned out pretty creepy, and yeah, we took that picture in my buddy's basement, which is empty and non-existent yet, so yeah, it was exciting.
Click off of it now, it's just staring at me. What am I doing? Why have I left it on? Right, okay, there we go.
Just leave it there the whole time.
Let's move on. Ugh. But yeah, man. So if you lot are watching this, Halloween's over. It's all about Christmas now, guys. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's Christmas now.
I'm more pumped for Christmas, so.
But that's
Christmas is my holiday.
Oh, yeah, we love Christmas. So it's basically Christmas from now until January. So that's That's looking forward to all that sort of good stuff. But anyway, we're here. You know, you said that you wanted to go as a tree. You could have gone as the Erd tree from the game that we're going to be diving into today and just talking about.
That was a great segue. That was really
good.
Thank
you. I practice for hours.
Oh, really? Okay.
We're talking about Elden Ring today. I think it's fair to say that both of us are not like super like heavy Soulsborne players or anything like that. Like for me personally, this is my first Souls game. I've been playing it through this year, so I didn't play it when it dropped. I basically bought it, I think, at the end of last year. And like most people, I was absolutely blown away by how good this game was. So it absolutely deserved Game of the Year last year. It was definitely last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It absolutely deserved it. Just straight off the bat, and I'm looking forward to just sort of talking about it with you. Yeah. Just to appreciate another brilliant game.
Yeah, and I myself, I have a little bit more experience in Souls games. I've played the first and second game, but I haven't beaten them. Pure transparency for the pod. I haven't beaten the game yet, so shame me all you will. Jax did beat the game because we said one of us had to do it before. Well, you didn't finish it?
I'm literally at the final boss. Like I have.
Okay.
I'm Blasphemous Blade. I'm a faith,
build.
Faith build, but and like I'm about to beat Radigan. I've fought him a few times. I'm about to beat him. Let's be real. I'm gonna get it done, but I wanted to explore a bit further, and I'll come on to that. Why? I just want to know how many hours I have in it.
Okay. So, despite not beating the game, Jax, I have 81 hours.
81.
So,
okay. I'm definitely clear of you because I know I'm over 100.
Okay. I figured you would be, but I just want to reiterate that as a casual gamer, I think I'm still partially qualified to talk about Elden Ring at this point.
This is why I don't use the app, because I've no idea how to navigate the Steam app on your phone. I definitely I think I'm around off the top of my head. I think I'm around 130, 140. Because I've now play it on the Steam Deck like a fair bit as well.
Right.
So where I'm at is I'm at the Elden Throne. Is it the Elden Throne? Is that what it's called? The throne. Anyway, I'm at that final boss, but I then wanted, because I heard that you could, because I was under the assumption initially that Melania, who is openly the toughest boss in the game, was to come afterwards, after like Radigan and stuff, which you can do. You can beat Radigan, I think, and then you can carry on playing, and then go and fight Melania. I wanted to see if you could fight her beforehand, and I think you can. So I've now gone down that route. And
you're going after her first before you fight.
I wanted to see if I could get there first. So that's what I'm doing at the minute, and that's why technically I haven't beaten the game. I could travel back. I've got the Blasphemous Blade. It's ridiculously OP. I could literally beat him. I'm just saying, guys. I'm level. Oh God, what level am I at this point? 160, maybe more like 150. Yeah. I mean, I grinded a lot on the cliff edge shooting a bird for a good while back.
You were doing grinding strats. Okay.
Early on. Not so much now.
Mid-maxing your character for sure.
We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. So for those of you that for some reason don't know what Elden Ring is, it was the latest game by From Software, who of course created essentially the Soulsborne genre of games, where it's all about strategy and technique in fighting very difficult and hard to beat bosses who literally give as good as they get in terms of like one-shotting you and stuff, and Elden Ring is no different. I think obviously more experienced Soulsborne players can probably say, I don't know if Elden Ring is up there as one of the tougher ones. From rankings and stuff that I've seen, I don't think it necessarily is. If I'm right in saying, I think
I've seen that too. I
think three or one is meant to be the toughest. Or there's Bloodborne as well, to be fair, and Demon Souls.
Yeah, I thought Bloodborne or Demon Souls was supposed to be the hardest one. Technically, I know 2 is not very hard, I believe. Don't quote me, but yeah, Elden Ring it's hard, but it's definitely not as hard as some of the other games in the series.
But what differs Elden Ring from those games, and obviously another reason as to why it was so good and so critically acclaimed, was it was open world. Like, you just go off and go wherever. You know, to be fair, each direction you went in, you're probably going to die one way or another. But then that's sort of all part of sort of getting you to the level where you can then start taking on the first boss of the game. I forgot his name. Margit, the Felt Omen. That was the main first boss.
I hate that guy.
I remember beating him on stream, and it took me forever.
That was like, I think he's a good boss though.
Yeah,
because he definitely like prepares everyone for what the game's going to be. Like, some people, I remember a lot of people complaining that like he's way too hard to be the first boss, and he was.
Yeah.
He took me like quite a few tries, to be completely honest. But eventually, when I was done beating him, I was like, you know what? I changed my mind. It was all worth it. I felt great afterwards, and I was like, that'll just prepare people for what they're in store if they play this game long enough. So, not mad about it. But
I haven't mentioned this. I need to. Well, I don't know if is that him messaging? No, it's not. I plan on getting Elden Ring for my dad. He's a strict, only plays one MMO for like the past 10 years.
Yeah, you said Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah. And I've told him a lot about, because he loves like Game of Thrones, and I've told him about Elden Ring, and George R. R. Martin, obviously wrote a lot of the lore and the world and the story, and built up a lot of this world and stuff, and he's kind of intrigued about it. So I'm going to get it for him for his birthday, which would be this month. And I'm just, the only thing is, I'm just a bit concerned because of because of how tough it is. Will it put him off? Because just talking about like Margit as like the first boss, I think if you look in like the in the achievements, it looks at how many people have beaten like that first boss and stuff. I think you find that there's a large majority who played the game and got to that point but didn't beat him and then stopped playing it. But people,
really?
A lot
What's
of people
the
who were new,
percentage?
a lot of people who were like new to the Soulsborne genre because of Elden Ring stopped playing it, like you say, because they thought it was too tough. It might be different now, to be fair, but I remember when the game first dropped, there was a big drop off in that first. People trying to beat that
percentage of achievement. I'm looking right now on Steam. According to Steam, 73% of players have the achievement for beating Margit.
It's gone up then. That's good.
I mean, but still, for the first boss, 70% for a popular game like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that is considerably. 30% of people quit.
I just hope that that my dad isn't put off by how tough it is. That's the only thing.
Right.
Because he does raids and stuff and plays obviously because he does an MMO, so he plays a lot with other people in that. So I need to try and get him to a level where he's like comfortable playing it and he won't be put off by, like I forget the name of who's the golden guy on the horse, like when you first step out into Limgrave, like you just walk up to him and he'll just one shot you, and it's just like stuff like that can be really off-putting. So I really hope it's not. So I'm going to see how it goes, because he doesn't play anything else. I'm going to try and see if I can get him to play something else.
Well, yeah. Does he like Lord of the Rings Online for the like lore aspect of it too? Because he's read all the books and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like a mad Lord of the Rings person. So
what maybe you should do is when you buy him the game, also include like a lore book if you can find a lore book for Elden Ring. Because maybe if he reads that, he might get more intrigued about playing the game.
I was looking for something just like that, but I think the only official thing and the only thing that looked kind of decent was the art books. So
okay.
I might buy one of them.
Story stuff.
That's the thing, yeah. I might buy one of them, but I almost kind of want to be like, here's a playlist of some videos. Go and check these out. But then it kind of spoils, like, if you ever got to those bosses, it would spoil the look of them and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's important.
No, it's important.
And it's relevant, you know.
For the average gamer, I mean, you gotta know and like adapt to like what the game could be from different people's perspectives. So I think that's important. I mean, personally, when I was going through the game, I didn't really look at the lore too much at all. I paid attention a little bit in regards to what was happening, but I also the lore's there, but you don't necessarily need it to beat the game. For people that don't want to look at it at all, it's pretty straightforward. Of like, I go north and I follow the pretty lights, and that's it. But at the same time, I mean, Jax, did you look at the lore a ton for when you were playing the game itself, like reading and going throughout and
not
role playing?
It's a lot of environmental storytelling, and sometimes that can be good, and sometimes it can have good and bad aspects to environmental storytelling. But after a while, you start to I started to become really interested in some of the characters and the bosses, and in how those bosses are, like the relationship between those bosses and like the families and stuff like that. Because I like Game of Thrones, like initially anyway, before it got terrible at the end. And so I just did a lot of deep diving into YouTube videos that explained like the family tree and stuff like that, and all that sort of stuff. As I said, George R.R. Martin wrote a lot of that stuff, and probably was the one that sort of connected all of these obviously potential bosses that would be in the game through like various all these different stories and relationships. And I did find it really interesting for a good while, and I think and admittedly now that's like me taking myself out of the game, going on YouTube and looking at that stuff. But I feel like when you really understand the lore and stuff a bit more, I feel like things that you do, people that you kill and stuff, and you just seeing the emblem and knowing what that means to that particular family and stuff, it just has a bit more of an impact on you doing that than you would initially realise when you're just going around slashing people you don't care. So it depends on the type of person you are and whether you're interested in that thing or not. And I think, like I said, for me it wasn't the case early on at all, and then slowly I started the cutscenes for the bosses were really interesting, and I just wanted to know a lot more. And I tried to do as many of the different, because I know there's a lot of different endings, and I tried to make sure that I did as many of the quests that led up to all those different endings as I could, because I'm actually at the point where I don't know what ending I'm actually going to get.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I thought I was going full Ranny, but then there were other things that I'd done in other quests that meant you would trigger the endings. But I don't know if it's because I'd done a certain one first, whether that means that's the one that's going to happen. So I'm still actually, because I haven't beaten Radigan, which I will do, because the only reason I haven't done it is because I want to record it, and I just haven't got around to playing it on the desktop. But yeah, I'm still curious to see what ending I'm actually going to get. And
I think there's I thought there was 6 endings. Are there
think there's a handful. Yeah, I want to say there's no more than like 8. I think. I don't think there's even that many, to be fair. Yeah, it's sort of it's around like sort of 5 to 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I just know that it depends on like what factions you side with throughout the game, and like if you kill certain NPCs. I'm gonna be honest, I was not paying attention to any of that. I messed up so bad during my game. I don't think I did any side quests.
Me.
I did no side quests. Not even the beginning one where like there was some guy that wanted you to kill pot guys or something. It was like one of the first quests. I messed up, like, going about quests completely. Because I did find Ranny, and I found the beast guy.
Yeah.
And then...
Did you go to
like, after that... No, they told me where to go, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I went the complete opposite way. So, but I think I eventually went where they wanted me to go. I think, where did they want you to go in the first place? Do you remember?
The first place, so you met the guy, I forget his name. He was the wolf man who's got a very posh voice. His voice is very lovely. And you find him in the woods, and he's howling because he's a wolf.
Okay.
And then eventually, I think they tell you to find him again in Nokron, the Eternal City.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's sort of quite a trek to get there.
I think I found him after the wizard place, like the academy place.
Yeah.
I found him up there, and then I saw him, I think, again when we were fighting what's his face? The meteor guy. Radon.
Yeah.
I saw him there, and then I haven't seen him since. So I don't think I'm following their path at all.
I think...
Also, I might have killed him. I don't remember.
I think a large part of his bit is... It ends with Radon. I think there's still a bit more that you might need to do.
Okay.
But just on this, like this interesting point about the side quest, because I don't tend to actually disagree with you so much, because I did find them a bit hit and miss. Like, something that really bothered me about the game was that when someone told you, like, someone started a side quest, sometimes they would say, I will put it on your map. And I would look on the map, and I would not see what they've put on. Like, the marker that they chose to use that was like an orange flag thing, it's like an orange circle, but it doesn't, like, when you click on the map, it doesn't start at that point or whatever. Like, I'm zooming in, I'm looking all the way around, all I can see is like Sight of Graces everywhere, and I can't see this thing that I'm looking for, and it's that's one thing that kind of frustrated me. And also part of the problem that I think this is sort of my issue is that I never really looked through the key items and like the notes that I found and was given to start quests or to follow them to see where I needed to go. I didn't do that until quite late on. But if I'm being truthful, I do feel like part of that was due to the UI in like the menu screen and stuff. I didn't find it like brilliant. I didn't find it completely simple and straightforward to use, or for the purpose. It didn't really give me a reason to go and look through all those notes. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I don't want to let... I totally agree with what you're saying. I think part of it is just because Dark Souls games aren't supposed to hold your hand. So yeah, I feel like maybe fair. That was why. But I also agree with you that, like, I don't want them to hold my hand, but at least tell me where the quest is, I guess. I don't know. I would have liked to see where stuff was a little more clearly. But, not being handheld the whole entire way through. Like, I don't want, like, a trail quest thing or anything like that, but I do want to know on the map where it is roughly, That's
the sort of thing. Even if they say it's in an area and you just have to explore that particular, that they're in the ruins. To be fair, that's true. They don't want to handhold you, so that's fair. But if I could just take that point and join it with another point.
Yes, please.
I don't really fully understand the leveling up of my characters and weapons in the game, and I still don't to this point. I know it more now, but, and again, this might just be because
you're newer to the Souls franchise.
Well, maybe, but I was actually going to say, I was like, I shouldn't have to go online to work out how to do this stuff, and obviously that's on me. But like, I'm sitting here, and I've got these runes, and I'm putting them in a different. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, health, mana, you know what I mean, like what they call them in the game. You know, and I'm gonna go, and I've moved to faith from strength build. The smithing stone stuff, I didn't really understand for a while how that worked. Also, I was very, very concerned that I was wasting smithing stones, and I'm one of these people that will save that sort of stuff for, like, if I can get through the game without using a lot of these stuff that's apparently quite rare. Like, I was like, I've got a smithing stone 5. Oh, that's a good one. I better not use that. But I'm literally like handicapping myself. I'm making it harder for myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
using that to progress the game, and and again, it comes down to like not properly following the tutorial and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like there could have been, and again, this literally will come back to your point about not being handheld. But like, I feel like maybe there was a better way they could have explained it or shown it, because I ended up, and it wasn't a bad sword, I ended up with a plus like 15 or plus 20 Zweihandler
that's sword. Like one of the classic first ones you get, isn't it?
It's I'm pretty sure it's not like a fancy sword or whatever. But I just ended up sticking with it for a while, for like a good while.
That's okay.
and I had like the lion's claw, what's it called, ash of war, that went with it, that was just ridiculously good. That was my favourite, the lion's claw, where he just basically does a front flip and just it was so good. But yeah, I feel like I wasted a lot of my smithing stones, only to then eventually find out through the internet that you eventually get to a point where you can buy as much smithing stones as you would ever need.
Oh.
Which
I didn't know that.
Well, this is it.
That's good for me. Because I feel like is that like in the sanctum?
It's in the round table, but you need all the bell bearings, and eventually the more bell bearings you get and you offer, it sort of goes up one by one until you can get. I think you can buy plus 9 and 10. I don't think you can buy the ancient dragon smithing stones. I think they're just one-offs. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like it almost locked me into using that sword because I started doing that, and I didn't want to spend loads more time grinding again with another weapon, even though I'm out here finding all these other cool looking weapons. But I'm like, I guess I got to stick with this. Do you get what I mean? Am I being over the top? Let me know.
I guess, I don't know. I feel like maybe you were trying to be cautious in regards to it, where I feel like I played a little bit differently. Whereas I figured, hey, I know this game is hard. I'm going to do everything I can to try and succeed in it. So whenever I got a smithing shard, as soon as I found out that we can upgrade weapons to the blacksmith, I put it on my, like, whatever the best weapon I had was, and I was like, oh, I'll find more later if it's meant to be, otherwise I'll stick with what I have. So I ended up using, I don't even remember what I used before I got the Bloodhound sword, but I got the Bloodhound sword, which a lot of people get in the starting area, which is pretty good.
Oh yes, I know which one it is.
Is it the Bloodhound's
dagger.
Hound?
Yeah. The Bloodhound's dagger. No, it's not dagger. It's
no,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I had that for a little while as well. Yeah, because it's got a really good Ash of War as well.
Yes. And then after that, I think I currently have the Lava Worm Fang. Have you gotten that one? You got it from like the boss from the past that you had to go north from. You had to beat him, I believe, at least the way I went, in order to get to the Giants. No, before I got the capital. That's who I had to beat, I believe.
It rings a bell. Is it? This is going to sound really. I'm going to try and explain like the Ash of War. It would be like you would.
Yes.
And there's lava.
Yes, it's like he takes the sword in both hands and slams it on the ground, and
like
you get like a lava AoE.
I used that for a little bit as well. Yeah.
But it's like iframes while you do it too, which is really good. So if you use it correctly, it's pretty much a free hit. So.
Yeah. But I'm on the completely ridiculously OP, and it'll be the top of every Elden Ring weapon tier list, the Blasphemous Blade. I can't remember where I even got it, and I got it like not that long ago. It must have been from Rykard. Its Ash of War is ridiculous. It's like a lava. I don't know if you've seen it before. It's like it shoots a lava like a flame attack. Its range is really decent. That also recovers your health. The damage is ridiculous. It's so good. Like it's so good. That's why I'm not worried when I say I haven't beaten the game. We can finish this. I can go beat him and record it. I can throw it up on YouTube if I want.
Is it a faith weapon?
I'm trying to remember what it stacks.
Because I think I told you I'm also faith strength build.
Yeah.
Because I was being cautious and I wanted spells to do mid-range fighting and also heals.
Yeah.
So I also went faith.
Faith was good. See, I started as, I think, strength and then like a bit of dexterity. And then I decided, because I played Faith the Unholy Trinity on my channel, that I needed to...
Unrelated, but...
unrelated. To make my character, the main character from Faith the Unholy Trinity, John Ward. And so I completely, after beating Renala, respect my character to a Faith build. That's a good video on my channel, by the way.
Shout out to Jax on YouTube. PatriotJax.
There you go. Just get
exactly
name
how
right
it sounds. Yeah. Just put that card in the corner, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's us rambling for a bit. There is... the one thing I've got to talk about the game is that a lot of open world games you can say this about, but like for me, I think some of the areas at least seem like a cut above. Like visually, this game is stunning. Like there are some locales that literally are just breathtaking, and it's like in a game on my very lukewarm, like spec'd computer, by the way. So, like, I'm just going to say a couple of areas that I loved. Like, when you first step out onto Lanedale, like the Golden City or whatever, and there's like a giant, I guess it's a fossilized dragon, but there's just like a massive dragon.
Oh, like in the middle of the city, like a little further in? Yeah. And you have to climb up it.
And you're just looking, and like when you first step out, it just looks beautiful. And then I think I talked about it on Twitter as well. I think I did like a little clip. I just had to. I don't know if you've got there yet, but the Crumbling Farum Azula, which is... have you been there?
I don't think so. So I stopped right in the Fire Giant land. Before the Fire Giant boss.
Okay, so you're not far away from that, actually, to be fair.
No, I'm mildly close to finishing.
Oh, actually, no, you're very close to there.
Yeah.
You got to do a bit more, and then you'll get there.
Yeah, I know I have to beat that area, and then there's one more area after that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think, actually, once you beat him and you get to that specific point, the cutscene will play, and then you'll end up at the Crumbling Farum Azula. I think it's, in terms of like just moments and like locales in general, I think the Crumbling Farum Azula is like up there with like my favorites like ever in a game. Just seeing like this weird destroyed like, it almost looked like, I don't know, like if Roman's the right way, but there's like broken colosseums and pillars and stuff everywhere. There's tornadoes just everywhere around, and you see it in the distance like flying, like loads of dragons everywhere. And then obviously you're fighting a fair amount of dragons throughout, and then you find a way to find the secret boss in Farum Azula. And oh my god, that has got to be one of the coolest moments for me.
I didn't know there's dragons there, so that's too bad. I'm terrified of that.
It's so, I don't know, just breathtaking, and it's that sort of stuff that I know will get my dad, but I know he will never ever get that far in the game. I think he might.
Fingers crossed. Who knows?
I mean,
what if he gets really into it?
I'll try and get him there. But I can't see it personally. But yeah, like the secret boss, secret, not spoilery secret. I mean, who cares at this point? Placidusax is the secret dragon boss in that area, and it's not a straightforward way to get to them, but once you do, it's just so. I don't know. It's very difficult to describe how amazing and just incredible it was to just try and do that. And even though I had to, the site of grace is not right next to it.
Oh no!
You have to do quite a little trek back to the same spot each time, and dodging enemies to get there. But it's so worth it to just see that cutscene for the first time, like, and. That's just like, and this game has a lot of those moments, and that's kind of what kept me playing. It's just constantly seeing like all of the bosses have like a level of character and like an air, like they all have like a presence and a moment. What kind of bosses like did that for you?
So yeah, I was gonna say, this is gonna sound lame, but because it actually wasn't a boss that had a cutscene. It was the first dragon that you find in the swamp in the game. You remember the first dragon that you find?
I do.
The very first area in the swamp.
I found that late. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were overpowered at that point?
Not overpowered, but like it was relatively straightforward. Yeah.
Okay, so. For those who don't know, it's in like the first. It's not the second dragon in the swamp that's near the academy and stuff. It's the first dragon in the beginning area, and you are on your horse just going towards this ravine, and all of a sudden it swoops out of nowhere, and you weren't expecting it at all. And then you have to fight this gigantic dragon. And at this point in time, you have not fought anything big. You fought like that cat statue in the beginning, which is maybe like 3 times bigger than you. But you haven't fought like anything big at that point in time. So when it comes and it jump scares you, it's a big deal. And so at that point, like, I didn't run away either. I was startled and I was afraid. But I decided to buckle down and beat it. And I don't remember how high of a level I was. I don't think I was that high at all. It felt like I was under-leveled. But I spent like an hour trying to beat it. And when I finally did it, it felt so amazing. And then I think I got a dragon shard or something, right? And I didn't know what it did, but I didn't care. Because the experience of killing the dragon was just way too intense for me. I did it on mounted combat too, so I was on my horse, and it felt like, I don't know, just felt super cool compared to like other Souls games where I feel like if you're fighting on foot and you're against a big enemy, and this is my personal opinion, sometimes like if you just do iframe dodge rolls against those bigger enemies, it doesn't feel as epic to me compared to like horse combat versus a dragon. Is like some knight lore stuff you'd find in Renaissance era. Like that to me is super awesome. So when I did that, I like made sure I had the best stuff I had. I had like the talisman that does increase horse damage, and yeah, I just whipped through it. And that was my favorite boss so far in the game.
Nice. I totally get what you mean, because a lot of the dragons, they just appear like they're not waiting for you. They will literally just swoop in, and because the game's open world, you're just going around just exploring. You go, oh, there's a cave over there, and then this massive dragon just comes up over you and stops you, and you're like, oh my god. But I totally agree with you. On horseback, fights look so much more cinematic and like epic than they do like when you're just standing there sometimes.
Yeah.
Not to say they don't when you're just standing there, but like I get what you mean about the horseback battles for sure. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And that, I'm sure I'm going to get some heat for that comment, but that's okay. You know, I have total respect for people that do the game non-horseback. I don't do that for all my battles. Of course I didn't. But for the dragon, I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. So
I have to talk about some of my favorite bosses.
Yeah, no, please.
Obviously, I mentioned PatriotJax. I thought the Radahn battle. This was bearing in mind that this had happened not too long after I was grinding for like ages. So I got to a point where I beat Radahn first time because I was so freaking. Well, I was OP to him at that time, and I was just on horseback as you would be on that boss fight, throwing black fire attacks at him basically the whole time, and it was very straightforward. But just the whole, which obviously for me, because I was quite a lot stronger than I think I really should have been in that battle, it made it slightly less epic. But the whole idea of that boss battle is so incredibly clever and cinematic again, and like just beautiful. You know, like the sky is like freaking beautiful. You're on like red like desert sands. You're fighting this giant who's on like the tiniest little horse. This freaking guy who can obviously attack you with his giant bow and arrow from like miles away.
Yeah, and you start like nowhere near to him at all.
Yeah,
and when you start the fight, there's like his remnants of arrows he shot from previous battles, like in the ground, and you're like, "What's happening?" And then he fires his first arrow, and then you're like, "Oh my god!" I'm pretty sure he one-shot me the first time I fought him.
And this battle, you have a bunch of people helping you, a bunch of NPCs who are actually also doing this fight with you, because they all want to take down Radahn. And that is as in terms of a cinematic battle, that is one of the best in the game. Even though, like I said, I found it relatively straightforward towards the end. There's one more that I've got to talk about, because I actually like half an hour before we started recording just beat another of them, and it's Astel, the Natural Born of the Void, which is the first one, and then I just beat. I think it was said its name was Astel again, and it was something else of the Void, like Darkness of the Void. And they've got to be, I don't like, if you know, but these have got to be like the creepiest and most terrifying looking bosses I've ever seen. Like I don't know if the way you've responded, I'm guessing you haven't seen what they look like.
I don't think I have. What area are they in? Can you tell me that?
Okay, so there's the first one. I think the first one that you meant to find is in I forget what they call like the underground world.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I know about the underground world. I found the elevators. I went down there once, got my butt handed to me, and then I left. So I've yet to explore the
There's one
underside
sort
of the
very
world.
like it's like at the bottom right of the map of that side, and you obviously you have to do a few things to get there. Very difficult boss, but just the way it looks, like it's just terrifying. It's got it's very, again, it's just very hard to describe. Like coming up with like the makeup of these creatures in itself must be incredibly like time consuming, but the level of detail in these bosses is genuinely like incredible. Like it really is. Like, please, just for me, unless you don't want to spoil it for yourself, look up what it looks like.
Okay.
Unless you don't.
You want me to? You want me to right now? No,
unless
sure.
you don't want to spoil it for yourself, so I'll give
No,
you that option.
Yeah, let me Google it right now. What was it called again?
Astel, Astel. It'll be like Natural Born of the Void, and then have a look at that thing. You can tell me why it's
Natural Born. I see it, third one down on Google Images here. Let me.
It's so scary, guys.
Oh, I've seen this thing on TikTok and other stuff.
Of course you have.
Yeah, this thing's terrifying. He has a one-hit move too.
It's like its face is like a skull, but it's got like pincers, and yeah, that's the one-hit kill. If it manages to grab you with the pincers and that, yeah, you are not surviving.
I was wondering where that guy was.
But the rest of its body is like elemental almost. It's just very hard to describe what it is. You have to experience it. And seeing it for the first time, I was literally like scared. I was like, no. No.
I don't need whatever the item is from this boss. That's fine. It can't be that good, can it?
But that's just something that I don't think I've had in other games, and that's, from me not playing Soulsborne games. When I played this and saw some of these bosses, I was just blown away like a lot of times, and I was just like, oh my god, no way. Like so many times you're just left breathless, and like that's why I love Elden Ring so much, and I'm really looking forward to the DLC, which will hopefully drop very soon, the Shadows of the Erd Tree.
Yes, which speaking of which, for that, which we know as a point at this time of recording this podcast, it is rumored to be shown at the Game Awards in December, which is on December 7th, Game Awards. But that's technically just a rumor right now. A few different sources have said it, but nothing's confirmed, and we still don't have a trailer or gameplay or anything else. So we're not sure how big it's going to be, what's going to be included in the DLC. But, I mean, they already dropped... I know they dropped the Coliseum DLC, Jax. I thought they dropped another DLC that tweaked everything, and that they had already gave us free DLC once.
That was the Coliseums, so it was like the
just the Coliseum
stuff,
that we did.
They said that wasn't like a main. That I think to them that was a bit more of like an update.
Yeah.
But like just to touch on that, just for a brief second before I get back to the DLC, I didn't really touch any of the multiplayer stuff. Bearing in mind, I didn't play the game when it dropped. I only started playing it in I think December of last year, or like January this year. So I played it where a lot of people maybe have moved on to the next game.
I would not be surprised if they full on gave us not to bring up Cyberpunk again, but the extent of a Cyberpunk DLC, like a heavy goated DLC that is its own new area. They tweak a bunch of stuff, give us a bunch of new weapons and everything.
Oh, that seems to be, I think, what they've said. I don't know if they said it explicitly, but there'll probably be one area of the map or in the underground bit that hasn't been explored, and we will go there. That'll be one area. There'll be new weapons, new map that will build. It will build on the lore, new bosses, obviously, all that sort of stuff. And I think I'm looking forward to it. I made it as part of my games to complete this year. Elden Ring was one of them. I am now into November. all I got to do is beat the. I don't have to beat Melania. I just have to beat Radigan, and it's done. So I will basically get that done. So I'm proud of myself because I don't know if I mentioned this at the start, but for a long time, not that I didn't really play open world games, but I found it difficult to really get a lot of my time into a big open world game like this because of the amount of time you have to put in. And as I said, I've got over 140 hours of my 2023 into Elden Ring, and it's sort of made me it's made me want to play more open worlds, or like it's sort of shown me that I can still like get into a big open world game. You know, I consider Tears of the Kingdom not quite the same thing. I'm not sure why, because Tears of the Kingdom is also open world, and I am playing that as well.
I was gonna. Maybe
maybe because it's on the Switch. But no, it was definitely Elden Ring that's kind of like rekindled my love of open world games, which was definitely like down, because there was a certain point where there almost became like a formula of AAA devs bringing out open world games, and it just became all about like collecting millions of things in side quests and stuff like that, and all that stuff that just bored me, and I didn't want to waste my time doing that to get this one cool looking outfit, you know, and that sort of stuff really bothered me. In this game, so it doesn't really do that, and the side quests were sort of interesting enough for the most part on their own, and every character sort of had their own lore and backstory, and it all related to something else in the world. And I'm thankful actually to Elden Ring for doing that, and to all the people who posted online for like tips and stuff, because I looked up a lot of tips for this game.
There's a lot of people that are serious about well, I'll just leave it at this. There's a lot of ways to play the game, depending on how much you want to min-max your character. There's a lot of build types and everything online if you really are into that.
Oh yeah.
But you also don't have to do that at all. Also, wait, one last thing. Did you? I don't know what your thoughts were about like the messages that are on the ground from everyone.
Oh my
God! Did you enjoy that or not? Because I don't think you've played a game that's like that before.
No, you're
right?
absolutely right. And I know this is not new. Like they've done this. I don't know. What was it? Just the original Dark Souls started it, or
I believe it was on the original Dark Souls as well.
Right.
But
yeah.
Elden Ring being, I feel like they had the most out of any Dark Souls game. I mean, I could be incorrect, but it seems like there's notes everywhere you went. So, did that deter you from doing stuff, or did it affect you at all?
Well, no,
because I know that.
I was just
gonna say for me, like there's certain like areas where it'd be like fake wall ahead, and then there's not really a fake wall. Like someone's just outright trolling.
Are you
so
joking?
Like for me, like I played the game alone. There's a couple times I asked my brother to help me out in a couple dungeons, but I played the game alone. But at the same time, I felt like it was just funny because it was sort of like you're playing with the community almost.
Yeah,
like, is that honestly, how you felt as well?
Absolutely. Like I loved having all of these things on the floor, even the ones that were like, jump because there's something great. You're meant to jump down there. Don't worry, you'll be fine. And then there's a guy behind him that's saying liar ahead. It's so good. Like those bits were great, but a lot of the time, and I never really posted anything, so I didn't understand quite how it worked, but I'm guessing you had to write things in a certain way so that it would appear, because a lot of people wrote in a certain way, and like there was always why always something, why always this, why always that, like why always weak opponent, and stuff like that. And I found a lot of it helpful, like genuinely, like a lot of them will go like, you'll walk around or whatever, and you'll see one of these, and they'll go, dragon ahead, or not even do that, but they'll sometimes some of them are really good, and they won't give it away. They'll say like, prepare yourself, or tough foe ahead or something like that. And then you could at least be like, okay, right, let me heal up. I'll just redo the Site of Grace and come back. And then, obviously, yeah, something would happen. And I would really appreciate that sort of stuff. I would always forget to, like, applaud the note, but I appreciated it in myself, so thank you. But I genuinely think just as, like, I don't know, we can't call it a game mechanic, but just as I guess so, as like a tool, it's like the developers have just let the players help each other out in like the most sort of innocent, easy way possible. I don't know, it's sort of weird to describe, but it's really clever, and it's really original. Yeah. Like I loved it. Like I found it to be brilliant, and you know, I'm sure other games are going to rip it off for sure, but in Elden Ring, I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. And you know,
good. I'm glad you enjoyed that part. Yeah, because I personally didn't mind it. I don't think since I was playing the game for the game itself and not necessarily to be like, obviously I appreciated the world as it went along, but I wasn't like trying to like role play or anything, so it didn't take me out of it. I just enjoyed all the notes, frankly. I thought they were funny.
Do you want to know why they're so good? Because tell me why in the hell you would know to swipe your sword at a random wall and it disappears and there's something behind it, because you wouldn't. So the guy on the ground who's played the game is in New Game +2, he knows it's there, so he helps you out. Like, you wouldn't know otherwise. How would you?
That's true. That's true. For
unless you're literally hitting it like every part of the wall. No one's got time for that. I ain't got time for that.
Some people do though.
That's true. Some people do.
And we let those people write the notes.
And there's a lot of people that are like secret wall ahead, and you're just hitting the wall and nothing's happening. That happens a lot. That does happen a lot. But yeah, Elden Ring, one of the best probably the best game I played this year. I mean, we'll get onto that later in the year about our favourite games that we've played this year. But, an absolutely brilliant game. Deserved Game of the Year last year. Looking forward to the DLC. Anything else you want to say?
I don't, except that I very much think this passes the vibe, if we're still doing that a thing. But yeah, I'm going to beat it as well. I'm gonna get back to it. It was on my to-do list to beat it before the end of the year, and you know what? I still technically have time. I still technically have 2 months left. So it could happen, and I will beat it eventually. Don't you worry. And then people can make fun of me less. So there we go. I'm excited.
You've got a few hours, mate. You got to spend some time.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty good at gaming, so I might just be able to breeze through it.
Feel free to ask for my help, and I can jump in. We can play online. I've still yet to do that in Elden Ring.
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, feel free to rate us on whichever platform you're listening to. We are on all the big ones. We are on YouTube at Video Game Vibes. You can also email us at our email, which is listed in the comments of whatever you're looking at right now. Just video game vibes inquiries at gmail.com. That's the one. But yes, that is all. Thank you for listening to us. Jax, hit him with your final wisdom nugget as we head out into the starry sunset of Elden Ring. We're following the path north.
How do I always forget this every time? Okay. I should do one from the game, really, but hey, there we go.
Yeah, really you should.
Right. Okay. I've got one. It's ridiculously long.
Oh god.
But hey, here we. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay, this is from Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Hey, relevant because the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection just dropped. So, it's life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more than just DNA. Through speech, music, literature, and movies, what we've seen, heard, felt, anger, joy, and sorrow. These are the things I will pass on. That's what I live for. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We all have the magic of the digital age to do that with. The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever, but we still have the responsibility to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing. Solid Snake, bitches.
R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Rip. I loved Friends.